So has Microsoft just doomed Doom to extinction? They laid off a bunch of people at id Software as part of their quote-unquote reset. And we're going to talk about that because they're laying off a bunch of people and then they're hiring a bunch of H-1B visas at Microsoft, which is very, very weird. We'll get into that later, but we're going to talk about id Software. And it did come out that I think more than half the studio was let go. And this is following Doom the Dark Ages being a huge flop. Last year, it definitely did not do as well as they thought. And I have to wonder, like, Doom as a brand, you know, where is it right now? I have no idea. They had no DLC for it, I guess. I haven't been keeping tabs on it since it launched. I actually didn't play it. My son played it. He said it was pretty okay. But, you know, it's nothing to write home about. But it's not looking good for id Software. So we're going to talk about where they're at right now. We're going to talk about the co-founders making statements, and they don't seem to have as optimistic of a view of the future of id Software as the people working at id Software, because they released a statement. Because once it hits the media, they always release a statement. Things are fine, guys. Everything's good here. And we know that Ashish Sharma, the new head of Xbox, has been mercilessly cutting studios and divisions and people that have been there for years. Xbox laid off the guy who was all about backwards compatibility. He was there for like 37 years. And the business pivot seems to be to turn, as I understand it, to turn Minecraft into a Roblox-like experience and to double down on casual games. That seems to be where they're going. And that would explain a lot of the cuts, because a lot of the studios that they're cutting are for more hardcore, old school gamers. They don't want boomers or boomer shooters. They want Candy Crush Saga and infinite monetization. They want Roblox. They want Minecraft to become Roblox. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? So let's talk about this. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe. If you're looking for more Clownfish TV, go out to more.clownfishtv.com. That's more.clownfishtv.com for more Clownfish TV videos and podcasts you will not find anywhere else. Also, you can check out the audio version on Spotify, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, wherever you listen to podcasts. You can kind of follow along the Microsoft saga. We just dropped an episode the other day talking about the monetization strategy, which seems to be, we want to turn Minecraft into Roblox. Good luck with that. We'll see. Do you want to deal with all the pedos you're going to get as a result? Game developer had it a couple days ago, and then we're going to read the update. 136 workers have been laid off at id Software. They said that a warn notice was filed in Texas. It confirmed that Xbox subsidiary ZeniMax Media has laid off 158 people in the U.S. 136 of those, I guess, were from id. Doom the Dark Ages developer id Software has reportedly been gutted during the latest round of mass layoffs at Xbox. Multiple anonymous sources have told game developer that around 50% of employees at the Texas-based studio have been laid off. One person claimed that equates to over 90 redundancies. Redundancies are what they're calling it. It feels like Doom is just going to be like a legacy brand at this point. Another source told game developer the studio's Q&A department has been decimated by the cuts. One laid-off worker posting publicly on LinkedIn corroborated those claims and expressed anger at the studio being torn apart in the service of another reorganization of assets. This is it. Doom is an asset now. But the new Doom games aren't doing that great. Doom Eternal was really good. It's currently unclear how many of the 100-plus union members, interesting, union members at id Software have been ousted. So this goes back to what we said in a video earlier this week, talking about Wizards of the Coast and how they thought it was a win that they were going to unionize. And, you know, all of a sudden Hasbro was going to become a different company, which is an unrealistic expectation, right? And a lot of times these studios, when times get tough, they toss the union members overboard first because they cost the most and they're the most trouble because they complain. The news comes hours after Xbox confirmed it would be eliminating 3,200 roles across the video game division. Well, there's been an update. So they're saying it's fine here, guys. It's all fine here. id Software issues statement following Xbox layoffs, says it's back to the size it was when it made 2016's Doom. You like that one, right? Yeah, we're going back to that. So yeah, they had to file a WARN notice. And that's the only reason this came out. If they had not filed that WARN notice, you would not know how many people got fired from id. So here's a statement posted to id Software's X page. Thank you for the support this week. While our studio was impacted, those changes were spread across teams. We still have the crew we need to build the games and tech we're known for. The team today is about the same size we were when making Doom 2016. We have always had a flat studio where everyone is a maker, and we will remain true to that philosophy moving forward. We're focused on supporting each other and the team members impacted. We're going to keep building great games and tech that have defined us for the past 35 years, and we're looking forward to seeing you at QuakeCon this August. That might be awkward. id and Xbox also pushed back on the suggestion there's essentially no one left at the company working on id Tech, the game engine it and fellow Bethesda-owned studio Machine Games used to build their games. Xbox confirmed to IGN there are dozens of people working on id Tech across multiple locations. You know what id Tech is now? AI. It's just they're just going to feed everything into the AI machine. So that's that. Now we have a statement from the co-founders, right? This is coming from day one. Original co-founders of id Software comment on layoffs in the studio's future. So John Carmack said this. He said, I've been trying to find something meaningful to say about the id Software layoffs. My Microsoft will probably be a good steward of the brand statement isn't aging well. And this is certainly going to dampen the mood of the founder reunion at QuakeCon next month. Yeah, it's going to be really awkward, isn't it? QuakeCon's going to be really awkward. I'm saddened, but I can't muster anger or outrage over this. I don't have access to the books, but I suspect that id Software was a marginal business from Microsoft's perspective. I believe the reports that Minecraft revenue have been carrying several other studios. Yeah, so what happened, if you guys missed that, is that it came out that Minecraft was basically bankrolling all of Xbox. Like the Minecraft profits, and there were years they had massive profits on Minecraft. It's cooled off a little bit now, but there were years where they were just making money hand over fist. Well, that's the money they used to buy all these other studios, and then it didn't work out the way they were hoping. So now they have all this stuff they acquired. Look at Embracer Group. They did the same thing. Sony did the same thing. It's right out of the Disney playbook. Buy, and then you can't manage all the stuff you bought effectively. So then you have to start having a fire sale and getting rid of people. He said to continue being produced long-term, games need to succeed, not just be beloved. Games are competing with every other option for spending your leisure time and money, and the competition is brutal. You can't rule out the possibility that executives are idiots, but that shouldn't be your default belief. I don't think there's any obvious path that would have double the revenue of id games. Could they have gotten more with a different pricing strategy? Could they have created more things for fans to buy? Could they have cost effectively marketed in a way that reached more players that would have loved and bought the games? Could they have changed the game design and broadened the appeal to more players without alienating existing ones? Could they have produced the games at a lower cost, faster, or cheaper? I don't know. The game isn't over yet, and I hope the studio rallies, though. I would say that the boomer shooter audience, it created the boomer shooter, but I would say that audience has moved on to indie titles, because part of the charm of Doom back in the day was it was very bootstrapped. It was an indie game. I remember getting Wolfenstein and Doom on, I think, floppy disk at a flea market. There was a guy that was selling like the Apogee discs, and you can get like Commander Keen and Jazz Jackrabbit. And then if you wanted to unlock the whole game, you had to pay, but you got like it was shareware. You got the first part free, and it was very, very innovative at the time. It was great, but yeah, I had all those titles. And man, Jazz Jackrabbit, he's due for a comeback. I'd hate to see what they'd do. But here's John Romero. He said, I'm so sorry for everyone at id Software affected by the layoffs. I know what it feels like to leave id while id goes on. It's a strange and painful thing to step away from a place that holds so much of your work, friendship, and history. The people at id have done a great job moving that legacy forward. Doom, Quake, and Wolfenstein are not easy names to carry on, especially in today's industry. The last few games showed real care, skill, and respect for what those worlds mean to people, but they did not sell well. They didn't sell well. Doom Dark Ages was a flop, right? A note on digital preservation. Id's history is critically important to the history of games. I preserved id's complete early history from our start at soft disk through August 6, 1996, including materials and assets that, as far as I know, id itself no longer has. I hope someone is doing the same for the company's ongoing legacy, work, code, assets, stories, etc. I'm thinking of everyone at id today and everyone else affected by yesterday's layoffs. Romero Games was there a year ago. I know how devastating it is, and my heart's with all of you. So yeah, that's I don't know. I think that just things are definitely changing at Microsoft. They're looking at Doom as probably a legacy product, like it's Microsoft's Pac-Man or something, and that's really unfortunate. But like I said, there's still a huge appetite for Doom and Doom-like games. Just we've kind of split into the, like, again, the boomer shooter subgenre, I think, on one hand, and then like the Call of Duties and the Fortnites and the live service games on the other hand. They all trace their lineage back to Doom, but it's kind of like Dungeons and Dragons, right? You've got D&D, but then that audience has split between the OSR crew and the people playing new D&D, and they're not exactly the same thing, right? You're not going to get them all under one roof anymore. But let's talk about this here real quick before we wrap up. So they're laying all these people off at Xbox, and Asha Sharma is under fire now, no pun intended, because they are eliminating 3,200 positions, but then they're bringing on like 5,000 H-1B visas. So this is coming from the Times of India, which I'm sure will be really fair, in this situation. They said Xbox chief executive Asha Sharma announced this week the gaming business would eliminate about 3,200 positions during fiscal year 2027. They said within hours of the announcement, the layoffs had migrated from business pages to immigration war territory. Social media posts and some right-wing commentators portrayed the cuts as an immigrant executive firing Americans to replace them with foreign workers. One widely circulated post claimed Xbox Indian CEO Asha Sharma announced firing 3,200 Americans. She filed for 5,000 H-1B visa hires this year. The problem, nearly every part of the claim is either misleading or false. Sharma is an American citizen born in Wisconsin to Indian immigrant parents. I did know that. I did know she was born in the U.S. The layoffs are global, affecting Xbox operations and studios around the world rather than exclusively American workers. That is also true. The reason people think this, though, is that it is business as usual, usually, and we've commented on this before. It's not a race thing. Right. But we have seen time and time again that usually when a company brings in a CEO from India, pretty soon we see an uptick in H-1B visas. Right. And a lot of it comes down to cost. Some of it might be cultural. I don't know. We're seeing this a lot at YouTube now, too. Now, I think as far as I'm aware, Neil Mohan was also born here in the U.S. But people are noticing a pattern, right? And I don't think it's racist to notice a pattern. It's not even a race thing. It's more of a cultural thing, a geographic thing. But people are noticing that there are a disproportionate number of Indian CEOs, for American tech companies or global tech companies. And then that seems to go hand in hand with the H-1B visa situation. Are people going to blow it out of proportion? Are they going to look for something to blame? Probably. But I can tell you, again, my own personal experience, again, this is just anecdotal. 10 years ago, because I worked in tech, I worked as a journalist first, and then I worked as a web developer. And I worked in tech, and I was flat out told by the HR manager at the one firm I was applying for a job for that they could literally hire 3 very, very qualified Indian web developers for the cost of one of me. And he said, I'm sorry, you can't compete. He said, they've got the skills you have. We get 3 of them for one of you. And that's just the way it is. And that's why we're hiring more people, out from outside the country, and we're bringing them in, and we're giving them a dorm to stay in, I guess, and all this stuff. And that was 10 years ago. So it all comes down to cost cutting, I think. And, I'm not going to turn this video into an anti-H-1B thing, but it is a real thing that's going on. Maybe it's being blown out of proportion. People are just noticing patterns, right? And really right now what's going on at Xbox is just massive cost cutting because they've spent too much money. It's crazy how much money they were subsidizing. That's what they said. They said they were subsidizing. That was Satya Nadella. They were subsidizing Xbox for years, taking money from other parts of Microsoft to pay for Xbox. And now the bill is due, and it looks like Candy Crush Saga and Minecraft as Roblox going forward, unfortunately. So there we go, guys. What do you think? I'm going to wrap it up. Please subscribe. We'll talk later.